Calvin T. Mann, leading EMIY, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to EMIY TV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
Hey. Hey, coming live to you live from a secret remote location. You can't find me. Pay no attention about what you see in the background. It's not really there. Anyway, today we're going to talk about men and healthy relationships because I am constantly I wrote an article uh, for Detroit Native Son, and I wanted to make sure that um, again, tackling all things males, boys, men's, husbands, fathers, right, relationships, and a lot of times the male perspective is only welcomed in buffoonish type of ways or in ways that it says, you have to be a certain type of person to say these things. And for me, um, I think it's important that we begin to understand how important the selection process for males, healthy relationships, um, what it looks like, right? Because healthy relationships ultimately lead to healthy families, and um, I think we just really need to really take a look at it. Some people are winning. L in the building with me. Dave is down. Pray for David, right, for his health to return.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to start here. The very first location. Everyone always cites the Bible, right? The first thing they say, right? Because this is the call. This is another one of those calls we get that I think we ignore. And it's this one: He who findeth a wife. Well, just that line right there can be evaluated because not enough he's are prepared to find a wife. And I was one of those he's. I literally was one of those he's. Uh, Not the proper guidance in relationship decision making. Um, Worked from the old book that many of you uh, use and have used that I didn't want my sons to venture in. Um, it's enough in their DNA code that they can make a decision. There's a lot of man in them, so they can make a good decision, or they can learn from a decision. Um, because I can't control that narrative. But when it says he who findeth, finding a wife or a person equivalent to be considered a wife, not every woman is a wife and not every man is a husband. And there are reasons why. One of the top reasons is because men, we're told to accept certain behaviors. We're told when it's the other way around, it's molestation. But for a man, we have a tendency to think that this is some conquering thing, and our lives are completely messed up. Um, and we make decisions from that poor decision. And what I mean by that is there are a number of young men out there, um, and young people who may have been um, had premarital sex long before they should have, and therefore that one decision is a decision that they're faced with every day. When I was young, I was told to stay away from older women. In fact, I did the opposite. Um, those decisions cost you. Um, when I was young, we did all the little games, hide and go get them, and the zodiac game. Read the zodiac paper, sign, and then the girl that's in the neighborhood, right? So you could pretty much go out and you guys rubbed your clothes together. And in some areas they call it dry humping, but in most cases that's just immature acting, immature acting out, immaturity being acted out. And as a society, we say those things was part of who we are, and we grew up in a great way. Well, no, that's not true. I can't say, if it wasn't for my brothers coming to bat for me, my situation it was scarce as a young man, right? And I was grateful to have brothers uh, who would fight for me and teach me how to fight and brought me in the middle of a lot of things. And my sister, the same thing, right? Well, not everybody has that type of security. And so we're told to sow our wild oats, which is bad information. And it's information that once I got to a certain age, it stopped with me. I don't tell young men to sow their wild oats, um, because what you're doing is you're putting that young man in a mindset from which it's going to impact his life. So I don't tell men or young men to go out and sow your wild oats, the whole nine. And that's one of the reasons why. We've grown up, I've grew up where, you could play marbles, and, you had the bat and ball, and we had the big wheels. And then it seemed like our block was stayed hot, you know. Um, but looking for healthy relationships. And so, from where I would stand, I've often talked about the men in my life that gave me the examples that I have been able to cling to on what to do or what not to do. So, from my porch, first, my dad gone. So, from the front of my doorstep to the right is Mr. Cecil. Across the street from Mr. Cecil is Sunny Man. Uh, two doors from Sunny Man to my left. No, two doors from Mr. Thornton is Sunny Man. And then from Sunny Man, I saw Mike, a single father. From there, two more houses, the Thompson, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, and across the street from them, the Hunts, and on the corner, another family, and then next to them was Wayne, and down the street, the Youngs, the Conleys, and at the top of the block was a pimp, right by the store. Literally next to the store was a topless bar. This is the environment for which I grew up in, um, and that was a healthy block considering um, our we were a very active block. Business owners. My parents at the time had charter buses and took churches everywhere, and did other things in the community. And So that's how I kind of grew up watching, going, seeing, but healthy relationships. Sonny Man, rest in peace, passed away this year. It's been a year now, right? Yeah, and not even a year, right? So, but Sonny Man and Liz was married, and watching them grow, and Mister and Mrs. Thornton, right? My aunt San and my uncle James, right? And I watched these relationships, including my own parents, and today the common denominator and what is missing is healthy male relationships with family. So when I started Good Fathers Only, part of it was being able to have healthy relationships in my phone where there were active fathers and husbands. And I can't stress it enough to say that from my childhood to the day, these things are mimicking. And I often ask different men and talk to different men and different fathers, and they call. Book, they call. The men, they call. There's no question. Cal, it doesn't matter what they call and to talk about, they call. And me, I call. And my relationships, my guys are married. And a number of my guys are married. There's no question. And they're in relationships and their businesses and their lives are flourishing. And I say all that to say we see a number of relationships crumbling from the perspective of two individuals wanting to be individual. It is astonishing. And so my thing about today is men and decision making. I'm always evaluating. I guess it's funny, Boog. I accuse my son of the very thing that I do. Right. I'm like every time I get on the phone with him, he always got some evaluation, that he wants to talk about. And until now, I wasn't even recognizing the fact that he get that from me. Right.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, he's evaluating. He's about to become a dad, and he's really evaluating. And until now, I really was like, man, why does he always call here evaluate, not even realizing where he got it from? Right? It's just funny, but right. But when we're talking about relationships and decision making, I think we are making decisions um, in a way both harmful, right, and not proper for your life, right? What I mean by that is, some of us, man, we just went out to marry because that's what we grew up in,
Mm-hmm.
right? Eventually, I'm gonna marry somebody. You know what I mean? I'm out here. I don't want to be out here too long because I see all this stuff that's going on, and I think I'm looking to settle down. And so as soon as this one, oh yeah, she woo and wow, and we all of this, right? We headed toward marriage. But we don't ask a lot of questions. We just assume men for us is that simple. Well, the simplicity days are over. We really just assume that, I like her, she likes me, I go to work, I provide, I come home, she cooks, right? We got the basic. But a relationship, book is, as brother, I'm sure you know, a relationship takes work,
Oh, absolutely.
right? And so, it's a play on words, relationship, right? So it's a relation
Hmm.
and it's a ship,
Absolutely.
right? And so what it means is you're now in this journey, right? In this relationship, marital relationship, and you got to navigate these waves together. You got to navigate these obstacles together. You got to be able to communicate and give each other what each other needs from each other. Um, a lot of women require touch and communication, and a lot of males have not been taught touch and communication by other males. And so it's very hard for a woman um, to really get a grasp of what a man needs because everything, in my opinion, they've been taught is about strength. And so they have this idea of a man and what he's supposed to do. And so they say, well, let's bring a check to it, right? And okay, so he's supposed to do a check. That's it, you know, but it's way more complicated and it takes a little bit more work. And as soon as she asked to go on a walk, he like, go on a walk. Man, I'm about to go down here and play this PlayStation. And she like, I just want to take a walk. Well, I just want to walk down here and play this PlayStation. And so after so many times of that, there goes one issue that you're going to have to address in a relationship because she wants to go for a walk and you need to be going for a walk with your relationship.
Mm.
Not saying you got to go every time, but you need to be going for the walk with your relationship.
Hmm.
He requires a certain amount of attention. Men, we like to keep it very, very basic because of that poor training. So that sometimes the only thing that make us feel good is sex. We just really look at the point that we just got to have sex, right? Sex, 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 right? Which then makes them believe that that's it. That's all you want. It's that simple, and the whole nine. And what has happened is that he doesn't even know what he needs from her for this relationship to continue to navigate this journey. He thinking it's just all about the sex part, but not really truly knowing intricately it's about the conversation before the sex part, but he doesn't really understand that because he doesn't really, he hasn't really shared those true feelings, right? I can't really trust her because of the way I grew up. I can't really trust you with all this information, right? Because I've seen on all these TV shows and everything where you would turn and use the information against me. So I can't really pillow talk with you to trust you. And she's saying you can trust me. You can share. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just here to listen. So I can this is my way of holding you and meeting you in your emotional need. And we, because of the way we were constructed, we really don't want to even share that and give you that opportunity to trust you with how I really feel. So we take it back. The first time a man was hurt by a woman, every woman alone in his life, at some point, she pays for that. Because if she hurt him by cheating and everything, this is another one of those areas where men find themselves, this is why I cheat. It's a poor excuse, but it's also from poor training. So I can't really have a healthy relationship, or I can't really communicate how I really feel. It's amazing because it was me, right? So every chance I got to share how I felt, right? Some always pulled me back because I always felt you wasn't there really there for me, and you was always doing something to sabotage me. And so what do? I began to live a life where I'm just in this little protective lane. No one can really get in, and nothing can really get out. And that was a life of mine. And you talking about hurting people. Now, this is an area where, you could take the moment and brag and talk about how much of a player, the whole nine. I could really, I can go into it. Me and Dave talk about it all the time. We could talk about how we know what it's like, to be a player and all of that. And, we get that portion of it, but that was just poor learned behavior.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Poor learned behavior is experience and poor learned behavior. And so we had that experience. And so that experience really, we hurt other people because you was only going to get so far. As a player, I'm only going to let you go so far. So I'm not going to really have an intricate relationship with you because I'm not getting ready to spend a whole lot of time. That is where we are in our relationships right now. Men, women, we're we're doing so much damage to each other from fear of accepting and trusting someone with our truth. So when it came for me, right, and L, here's the crazy thing is, and as soon as that divorce came, man, I jumped out here. You hear me? And it was like getting a bag of potato chips from the corner store. But in the back of my mind, in the pledge I gave the Lord, I said, you know what? I don't want to do that. Right? I I want a healthy, the very thing that I've been praying for. I You want me to do this, then I want that. I want a healthy relationship. I want to be with someone that I can laugh, talk, share, and not be somebody else. Because every day you walk out that door, you are becoming somebody else. You walk out into an environment because we got to put on all these hats to protect who we are when we walk out the front door. But when I walk in the door, I want to be able to walk into the door in a peaceful, welcoming, caring environment, right? Because it the world is already in the fight. As soon as you open the door, you're already in the fight with the world. Why you got to come home and fight? Like, why do you got to create circumstances and situations where your home environment, the person that you chose to say that you love and you cherish, you don't trust and build. And so we miss those dynamics, right? And so it's easy because what's the game, bud? We all played the game. Uh, Women and men, you can hear this all day. You could go sit at any bar, and the first thing a person does to harm their relationship is tell a complete stranger that I'm not happy at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's the first thing, right? So the bar is full of the people who are in relationships, but just looking for someone else to make them feel better because they never had the situation of helping and sharing um, with the person that they needed to share that with, that space, you know. And this is why you got to be careful. And this is why I say, he who findeth, right? She who listens, you know, the Proverbs 30 word one, she who listens to him and can listen to him share and reassure him that this is a safe space, and vice versa. She can pour in and she can share, and you can protect her from the very things. Listen, man, they have no idea. So in relationships, a number of people, when we get out here and we get in these relationships, a number of us, we we don't recognize walls. Now, you might recognize, right, the physical wall that a woman has, her intimate walls, sure. You might recognize the first two, three walls that she has up, sure. But you don't have the skill set to get to the little girl that's waiting on you to protect her. Many relationships, many women are hiding behind wall number one, and the average man doesn't know how to get her from wall number one and rescue her from herself. And then the man, he has up a few walls. She knows how to get to the walls, right? But he doesn't know his wall three, two, and one are not connected to sex. Because we think everything, right? We crack jokes all day about sex, right? We think everything is sex. Yes, sex is very important. It's very healthy to a relationship. You should have plenty of sex, right? Busting is important for everyone involved. She deserves to bust, and he deserves to bust. And busing for men, it helps our prostate, and it's good for us, right? And so, having um, that orgasm is a beautiful thing. Having multiple orgasms is a beautiful thing, right? But it's a portion of what love really is, because that love piece is very, very powerful. And it's not the the ambiance, it's the work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the ambiance, it's the work. How much work uh, goes into a relationship, right? Are you willing to be with someone when they correct you publicly, you're not offended because you know this person is just loving me, and and I'm accepting what was just said. But watch what you say. Watch how you talking to me in front of. You got a facade. You got a facade. Yeah, you got to watch what you say and how you say it, where you say it, and how you can pull them to the side, but you got a facade. And we put up a number of facades in relationships that create more harm. right? Bug. It's funny. On this journey with my wife, I remember writing a letter. Now get this. I hadn't written a love letter since I was in high school.
Mm.
That's sad. I literally hadn't written a love letter since I was in high school. I didn't put my words to a letter to the ex, and it was one of the things that was surprising um, when it was told that I didn't love her. It was tough because according to the work, I thought that's exactly what I was doing. You know what I mean? I thought, you know, I thought, hey, look, I'm putting it in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Co-workers, everybody, I'm putting it in. I'm in the peak. I'm doing it. I got the kids. We got football camps. We got soccer. We're doing the parenting thing and
Mm-hmm.
care for each other and vacation. But that's not loving yourself or loving them properly. Those are things that you do, but the love that the person or the spouse and understanding, and we're having these conversations consistently, understanding that the husband and the wife is first. Because we got to put in all this work for the children. So we got to love each other a lot. And we got to reassure and reaffirm each other a lot. You're going to love your children regardless, but you got to show that example of what it really looks like so they can have something themselves that they look forward to. And so as men, a lot of times, we get out here and we do things, man. My guys, they go on vacations, man. Everything. It's just amazing. And I've been watching it as I've been building this vision, and it's for me, and for my children, and for the example, right? You got to do those things. That's part of the love language that they need. They need to be holding on to their strong man arm and walking with them and knowing that this man is for me. And we need her to be right there pulling on that arm, looking cold blooded, knowing that's for me. And too many times in relationships, we navigate ourselves into foolishness, right? You got all these, groups, sex groups, all this freaky stuff going on. You know, two on ones, three on threes, two twos, six fives and fours. You know what I mean? They out here, right? And then wonder how the relationship uh, being exactly what it is. And so you done did all that other stuff. Now you gonna go back into that crib. You're like, yeah. I said, man, I know swingers, the whole nine. It just blows me away that people consider that love. But that's their life. It's their lifestyle. But that's not what all this work around restoration of family, the restoration of the nuclear family, man, wife, children, restoration of the nuclear, the actual success that we got away from. Right, and of course you'll get the feedback of, oh man, that's America and Africa, man. You know, men had uh, three, 15 wives. Yeah, they also had a train station and ran the railways, and they had land, and diamond mines, and kings. They were all of that, and that was part of the destruction too. That same mindset. You know, a lot of times we forget, how did you get here? Well, go back and look. You had this, and you sold that, and then you kept selling. Then you was beefed out. Then you got the separation of tribes. Like, go really look. But the reason why I was having this conversation is because it's very disturbing when a family breaks up. And it was very hard for me when my family, when I went through a divorce, in relationships and understanding the importance of a healthy relationship and the things that I wasn't willing to do. I wasn't willing to do what I'm doing now. I had to get to that place. And part of it comes from how I was brought up. So I had a lot of pride in the wrong areas. And so we men, we are way more powerful than that process, right? Because if you look around, a lot of times that's how we get taken advantage of. That's how we lose. You be on top of the world. I seen a video the other day where 50 Cent said, it was like, yeah, Fortune 500. He said, yeah, he said, in the Fortune 500, when you look up, what you look over is a little column in the Forbes magazine that where it's now the Fortune 250 because that divorce. And I laughed and I chuckled, but the funny part about it is the mindset of money being more valuable than family blows me away. The value of a family, um, that identity is literally uh, embedded in your DNA code, right? When you don't have a sense of family, you just go look at your DNA code. And when you look at society in our world now, you have four, five, six different siblings who don't have the same last name. Now, I get the whole, you know, the reason. I'm just saying, being a healthy male in a healthy relationship is it, and knowing the value of who you are and making that decision to value the person that is in your life through the marital bond and really working at that. A friend of mine said they haven't had a divorce in their family in 92 years. 92 years, bro. So when I'm advocating for male involvement and dads, the whole nine, is to advocate for that legacy. I'm not advocating to say solely that we're just men, we're the greatest, the whole nine. No, this is a tough fight. It's hard fighting for men. Men are men are absolutely. Uh, I don't even know how to describe it. We're out here on some unnecessary, right? But in the prevention work, the object is to cut some of that off so these kids and these families and the future of the next wave of males have a chance to be families. I you're talking domestic violence, men beating women, killing women. Like, come on, man. I could really, right? I'm there, and I could jump into that and start advocating over there. It's already crowded. I figured, hey, if we just work over here and value the things that we have right here, and we can navigate men into healthy relationships, we can have healthy families, we can have healthy children. Because guess what, Dad? You're an intricate part to a child's success. So, that's just a little bit what I mean that as men and males, a healthy relationship um, is important. It's very important, and we didn't know our value. And even today, if we're paying attention, how do you culturally increase the value, right? How do you make males more valuable? And how do you, how these are questions I have got to answer. I have got to answer how to increase value of males without it being about a dollar. So, Boog, if you go to work every day, how valuable are you to the community, the people, right? If you do, how do we increase the value? How do we increase the value, increasing the value of males because we've been on a plummet of devalue centuries. And God forbid, if you, once you throw in the racism, the trajectory pretty much triples. And today, as you see more than anything, what is happening is that privilege is coming off the table. And because it's coming off the table, your value. And so all of this is something that's in my sphere is the right way, I guess to say. My atmosphere, my
Mm-hmm.
sphere of influence. Uh, I'm I am really curious. These are the things that's on my mind for 2022. As a matter of fact, next week, Heather, she'll be the last. Uh, they're doing their your inspired journey, so I won't even be on uh, back until 2022. And um, I'm leaving it right here because the truth of the matter is somehow, some way, I've produced, I've helped produce young men in collaborations with their families to be healthy men in healthy relationships, right? So I've done that, but to do it on a scale or the vision uh, and getting right and getting men in relationships, right? It's it's right because every look. Just think about all the. I was just sharing yesterday. Look at the millions of videos, millions videos of just absolutely debauchery, foolishness. It is amazing to watch some of these videos. It's amazing. It is amazing. Like we're in this. I don't even want to call it the Twilight Zone, brother. You know, I'm sharing, and I'm sharing, and because this was on my mind, and just like I don't want my sons and my daughters caught up in that,
Mm-hmm.
and they already are. And um, we got more work, but we got more work. I guess that's the answer. We got a lot of work. We got a lot of work for fatherhood. Although we have improved, here's the statistic: we were at 1% single household. Now we make up 8% of the single household rate. Some will call that improvement. Um, the impact of fatherhood, Black fatherhood groups and fatherhood everywhere. It's man, it's like it's an explosion. I'm loving that. And then they want to throw some other stuff in the middle, but I'm gonna stick to the fundamentals, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can deal with the consonants and the vowels and all that other stuff. I'm I'm gonna stick to the fundamentals. Straight layup. I ain't gotta dunk it. I ain't gotta jump in the air, do 360. The layup at 2 points is 2 points, brother. So I think that's where I'll leave it. 2022 for Encourage Me I'm Young is going to offer some tremendous things for our youth, our mentoring program. Again, second to none. We're performing at a rate. COVID, I really despise this COVID thing. I'm sure everyone is in agreement how it
Mm-hmm.
impacts your programming, your children, the community, the whole nine. I am one who would love to find out where the hell this come from and pull the rug from off of it, like for real. I would love to. Um, the family dynamic, right? Our 2022 Emmy National Respect Day. This will be our 5th year. It's going to be epic. We're excited about that. March 5th is our pancake breakfast. Book, I would love for you to be a part of it. Bring in your what you bring to the table to teach youth. Maybe that's another area where we can be in the same building, but that's on March 5th, and it's a community wide. I want to grow that into the biggest pancake breakfast in the Midwest. Uh, and we've been doing that consistently since uh, the sister taught me how to do the fundraise,
Mm.
and she ended up passing away. Z. Ramil Pace She ended up passing away from brain cancer.
Oh,
And
wow.
my son's mom, my oldest son's mom, they were working together, introduced me to her, and she was so excited to meet someone like myself, and we met. And her story has always impacted me because even on her deathbed, when she couldn't remember nobody's name, yeah, when I went to visit her, she always knew my name.
Mm.
She couldn't remember her kids, her husband, and her husband. They called me, and when I got there, I seen a grown woman looking like a child. It had reduced her, but that's why we do the pancake breakfast. Eventually, when we get the empowerment center done, that's what it will be named. They will have to ask me to not name it that. I went the other way. This time, I'm going my way. She was also one of the biggest founders for uh, the heat. When people couldn't get heat and things like that, she helped start that whole organization. I can't think of it right now. And so that's why we do the pancake breakfast. It's our one fundraiser. We'll do some other things this year. More books coming this year. Uh, I'm gonna spend more time on Calvin in 2022, right, and do more things, right, on a national scale, even more so. And we are going to continue to do the work that we're doing, and we're going to launch the new area, new facility, and soon, probably might be during the pancake breakfast that we make the announcement that we'll have the ribbon cutting ceremony for our vibrant communities, 60,000 square feet that we have partnered with. But after Respect Day, it'll be on even more. And the mobile mentoring bus in 2021, and the different relationships that we've built that we'll be able to scale up to another level and continuously paint this vision for 2022, which is our 15th year. And so, in the middle of the summer, I want to throw one of the biggest parties for kids. Uh, this is just me talking, but it's something that I'd like to do for my 15th year. Um, we have also Dad's March Dadness, right? And, that's something that we'll do with dads. And we're going to hire somebody, with Good Fathers Only. So these are just some of the things that's coming for 2022. I really appreciate your time and your support, um, and appreciate you for doing, and Miles for opening in this book, this podcastic book, this and Pandora, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
mindset for podcasts and people. And if I don't ever tell you, man, I really love you. I appreciate you for coming into our life and making all of this possible and doing the things that you're doing to help the community. I appreciate you for that because we need more men doing more things with men. And so I appreciate you. And I think that'll do me. I think for me today, it's just was real heavy on my mind. I got to get ready for this mentoring program. Um, and when we go in today, we're preparing for next week and just excited for these kids and their opportunity to see themselves as leaders. I This year has been a very interesting year for me. And kicking it off, we started with a 10-year-old doing beats, and we then walked it all the way down through 2021. We've accomplished a lot. We didn't accomplish enough, but we will conquer 2022. Our method for 2022 is all about family. So everything we do will impact family. This is not a game. If we don't save our mindset and our concept of family, we have failed our legacy, our people, and the thousands and the millions that came before us who fought for us to have this type of freedom. And so, with that, I said, I love you. I salute you all. See you in 2022. Brother Dave, I love you. Brother Vic, and all the mentors, and Heather, you know I love you, baby. 2022, God bless you and encourage me. I'm young. Put your family first.
Yes, sir.